Yo, guys, and as you can tell by the thumbnail and by the title of this video, I am going to be doing my Raw after Saturday night's main event review. And as you can tell by the thumbnail, I have given this Raw last night a 5 out of 5, a low 5 out of 5, because I do feel that it was 10 times better than last week's Raw, which was literally just a filler Raw for Satellite's main event, so it was just dreadful last week. And I personally do think that this week's Raw was better than SmackDown, so I didn't want to rate it the same as I did SmackDown, which was a 4 out of 5, because last week's SmackDown was way better than, well, not way better, but that much bit better than last week's Raw, which I gave a 3 out of 5. So I did end up giving this week's Raw a low 5 out of 5, because personally for me, from beginning to end, I really enjoyed this Raw. Maybe not so much the ending of Raw, like how the main event ended, but I'm not too disappointed with the ending, because we went overtime by 15 minutes, I think, because Raw is supposed to be 2 hours and 30 minutes, but last night it was 2 hours and 45 minutes. So we went overtime. So I can't complain. The fact that we even got that main event in the first place is great in itself, because like I just said, we went overtime by 15 minutes. So I ain't mad about it, because we got extra wrestling and an extra 15 minutes of Raw. So can't complain too much about an ending not being that great, when that ending and whole segment wasn't really technically supposed to be there because it went overtime. So yeah, because obviously when Raw and SmackDown originally got moved to Netflix in the UK, everyone thought that, oh, we're going to have different times, it's going to finish at, it's going to be, sometimes it might be an hour show, sometimes it might be an hour and a half, sometimes it might be 2, sometimes it might be 3, sometimes it might be 3.5, sometimes it might be 2.5, but 99.9% of the time, SmackDown is 2 hours, Raw is 2.5 hours. There'll be the odd occasion where it goes over by 5 to 15 minutes, but that's a very rare occasion. It normally is in that Pacific time frame. So when a SmackDown or Raw does go over time, we have to be thankful that we even got that extra time for Raw last night. So I can't complain too much about the ending not being the greatest, because we shouldn't have had that in the first place. But yeah, do you guys, I'm going to say about the ratings now instead of leaving it at the end of the review. I'm going to speak about the rating now. Do you lot agree with me in this week's Raw being a low 5 out of 5, sorry? Or do you believe it was good but could have been better, so you gave it a 4 out of 5? Or do you believe it was decent and quite similar to last week's Raw, so you felt that it was on par with what the rating I gave last week's Raw, which was a 3 out of 5? Or do you believe that this was meh, there's not really much to take from this Raw apart from a couple of moments, so you gave it a 2 out of 5 because you didn't think it was awful, but you didn't think it was alright, good or great, so you gave it a 2 out of 5? Or do you believe that this was awful? That Raw last night was absolutely awful, and you gave it a 1 out of 5 because you wish that Raw never happened. You liked nothing to do with that Raw last night, and you will never ever go back and watch any highlights or clips or anything on Netflix or wherever you watch Raw to do with last night's Raw, because you felt it was that bad. So let me know, guys. Let me know your ratings, because I do say this in every video, and not that I care how many views and likes and comments I get, but the one thing I do really kind of feel a bit about when I do these videos is that I sometimes do get people commenting, but they don't give me their ratings on the Raws, and I find it really intriguing to know if people are thinking the same as me with the ratings, or they think it's worse or even better, depending on what rating I given it, because yeah, I'm very intrigued to know your guys' takes on Raw, SmackDowns, and what you felt the rating of each show is, because yeah, it's just very intriguing. But yeah, like I've already said a few times now, I did give what the fuck I did give last night's Raw a low 5 out of 5, because I felt it was 10 times better than last week's Raw. So that's the reasonings for the ratings. yeah, we kicked off Raw with CM Punk, the new world heavyweight champion who beat Jey Uso in the main event of Snme's main event. Punk thanked AJ Lee, of course, his wife. He has to thank the wife first, you know. And then he thanked all of us for sticking by him through all these years and sticking by him when he came back to WWE a couple of years ago. And then he also thanked Jey Uso for the fight that he gave him at Saturday's main event. And that's the 3 people, technically like loads of people, WWE Universe and 2 people, I guess. I don't know how you would count how many people you would count that as, but he thanked a lot of people, let's just say. He said he came back to WWE to make money and to win champions, well, to be champion, and he's done that. He's made a fuckloads of money, and he's a world heavyweight champion in the WWE again, and that's the 2 goals he set himself when he came back. Like, he wasn't here to make friends, he was here to make money and be a champion again. He said there is no snake in the grass, of course, meaning Seth Rollins, because obviously the last time Punk won the World Heavyweight Championship, Seth cashed in his Money in the Bank, but obviously Seth Rollins hasn't got the Money in the Bank briefcase with him, so he's unable to cash in the Money in the Bank on CM Punk or even be anywhere near CM Punk because obviously he's injured at the moment. He did say to Seth that he wishes him a speedy recovery and hopes that Seth's back soon so he can beat his ass again. And then he done the Seth celebration where he puts the title over his head and spins it over his head. Honestly, I thought it's gonna fucking break his shoulder. Like, no, leave that to Seth. You know, Seth probably shouldn't do that anymore now. If he is ever to be champion again, which he most likely will be, but I don't think he should do that again because he'd probably fucking hurt his shoulder again. Now he's had a shoulder injury, but yeah, that was quite funny when he done the Seth celebration. Said that he has a target on his back and his front. Never known anyone to say that he has a target on his back and his front. But CM Punk comes up with the most random shit, and that was one of the random shits that he came out with last night. That he has a target on his front. Yeah. Said he wants to be a fighting champion, which is good, because I love me a fighting champion, especially when it's the top champion in the WWE. Cody hasn't. I guess in a way, Cody's been a slight fighting champion, but they've booked Cody a little bit differently this time around. I'm not going to get too much into Cody because obviously that's SmackDown, so we'll talk about Cody when SmackDown comes around on Friday. But yeah, they're booking Cody very differently this time around. But I love a fighting champion, and even if Cody isn't, for example, defending his championship on every PLE, he's on every 90% of SmackDown shows. Obviously he had that time off for a while. Can't remember why. Oh, his birth of his daughter, I think, or might have been something else. I can't remember, but he was off for a little bit. But other than that, Cody tends to be on SmackDowns and PLEs like every time, and that's what I love about champions, and that's what I love about CM Punk, because I really do feel that he is, hopefully, if they book him correctly to be a fighting champion, like he said he wants to be, he will defend that championship on every PLE or majority of the PLEs over the next 6 to a year, depending on how long he's champion. I'm hoping they allow him to. Oh no, I was gonna say I'm hoping they allow him to be champion for more than his previous run, but that was over 400 days, so that ain't happening. I think it was 400 and I could be wrong. I think it was 432 days, something along the lines of that. Or 436. It was somewhere along the lines of that. Anyway, he was champion for, so it might have been even longer or a little bit less, but he was champion for over a year. So I don't think he's going to be champion for over a year this time around. I think he'll be champion up until WrestleMania. Yeah. But he said he wants to fight the likes of Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, Paul Heyman. I was like, Paul? Oh. I was like, oh yeah, Paul Heyman wants to punch Paul Heyman, wants to fight AJ Styles, Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Sheamus, and he wants to have one more match with John Cena, which could actually happen at Madison Square Garden. Very, very like big potential now that they're not going down the route of doing Dominic Mysterio versus John Cena at all, because I think if they were to do John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, John Cena would win it, and that then means that they're not going to be doing Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio at Survivor Series in 4 weeks' time for the Intercontinental Championship in San Diego, which makes a hell of a lot of sense for them to do that match between Rey Mysterio and Dominic, considering what happened on last week's Raw, what happened on last night's Raw, which we'll get onto in a bit. So I don't think we're getting John Cena as Intercontinental Champion, which is actually very, very frustrating. But I don't know, they might. I can't see them not doing Rey Mysterio versus Dominic at Survivor Series in San Diego. Like, I can't. So there's no way of me getting around this. I was trying to pinpoint where they do John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, I'm not too sure when the semi-finals is of the tournament, like where that's happening, because I'm presuming after Survivor Series, the semi-finals will happen. So Dominic could enter the last Time Is Now tournament and go on to the semi-finals, which is after Survivor Series, after he beats Rey Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, and then maybe he goes on to face John Cena in his last ever match for the Intercontinental Championship. Like, that's a possibility, I guess, but I don't know. But I'll be so down for John Cena versus CM Punk, like, one more time at Madison Square Garden, in the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship. Like, I feel like that's actually quite a big possibility that they are going down that route, which would be very, very interesting. Or they do it in John Cena's hometown of Boston. I can definitely see them doing John Cena versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship on either next week's Raw or the Raw after, because it is in Madison Square Garden, so they need that big, like, marquee match and marquee people to sell out the arena, because obviously it's I'm presuming one of the biggest arenas in America, so, like, one of them. So I'm presuming they want something that will be eye-catching, which John Cena versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship in Madison Square Garden in a couple of weeks' time is a very possibility. So if that happens, holy fucking shit, like, holy shit. And then CM Punk used John Cena's stick of the champ is here. And then out of all the people that CM Punk mentioned that he wants to face for the World Heavyweight Championship, who decides to interrupt CM Punk? None other than Logan Paul. And I really, really wasn't expecting that. I knew about Ray being backstage at Raw. I didn't know about Ray being backstage at Raw, but a friend of mine messaged me that Ray was backstage at Raw and was potentially having a match Survivor Series. So, no offense, but to the friend, if he does watch this, kind of ruined Ray coming back, because I had no idea that was happening. Like, literally not a clue at all. So that was kind of ruined, which I'm not mad about it, because I'm going to say it now before we even speak about the Ray and Dominic situation. I've never been a fan of Rey Mysterio, just someone I've just not. What's the word I'm looking for? Just not someone I've really got into. That's the word I was looking for. Just not someone I've never got into. Like the same with, like, John Cena. Like, everybody loved John Cena. Like, loved John Cena when I got into wrestling. Like, he was from 2010 onwards. Like, the amount of John Cena signs and John Cena T-shirts you would see, and it was crazy. And the amount of shows that John Cena was on in them fucking 2010s was insane. So John Cena was, the top guy and the face of the company for so many years when I got into it. But he's just never been someone that I've got into. And it's the same with Rey Mysterio. Like, a lot of people loved Rey Mysterio, but I just never got into him either. So I'm not that mad. I wasn't that mad that my mate told me that he was backstage because, like I said, I've just said I'm not never been that big a fan of his, so I would have just been a bit like, oh, Ray's back. Oh, that's cool. Okay, we're getting Ray versus Dominic. I'm down for that again, though. But I haven't been like, oh my god, it's Rey Mysterio. Like, no. But Logan coming out, I was very, very not expecting that, like at all. Like, not any part of me was expecting Logan Paul to interrupt CM Punk. I generally just thought it was just going to end like that, like just Punk saying the champ is here, and then Punk would have walked out with his music, and that was that. But no, Logan Paul interrupted, and Punk was like panicking, like, no, no. It was actually quite funny, actually, how much he was like, no, not you, not you. Said that Paul should go to SmackDown and fight Ilya Dragunov because obviously Ilya's doing a US Open Challenge at the moment. And then not long after, Logan said some things and Punk said some things. The Vision interrupted, said that Logan ain't even in the line to even be in a number one contendership spot for CM Punk's World Heavyweight Championship. Braun said he's coming for the title, and then Braun and Bronson attacked CM Punk, and Logan actually helped CM Punk out, which was nice to see, but I knew it was literally just for the beginning of Raw. Like, I knew that at the end of Raw, or something during Raw, that Logan would attack CM Punk. I just knew that was coming because there's no way Logan had turned babyface on a random episode of Raw in New Mexico. Like, I was just like, no. There's definitely something being planned later on in the night, and we'll get onto that when we get onto that. But yeah, I will say now though, Bron Breakker has really improved on his promos. Like, last night's promo felt a lot better than his previous ones. You can really, really tell that he's doing everything that he can with Paul Heyman and Triple H and creative team to work on his promos, because you could really tell that he improved last night. There was a little bit of moments here and there where it just sometimes promos feel like promos, and you can tell. It's hard to explain, but with CM Punk, for example, and John Cena, and Logan Paul, to be honest with you, and The Miz, and The Rock, and a lot of other people, right? There's loads of people that I'm missing, but when they do a promo, you can tell that it's coming from, like, the heart. Like, you can tell that they, like this, like, very quick with it, and they speak in a way that makes it sound not like a promo, that they've actually just come up with it on the spot. But with Bron Breakker and Lara Valkyria, for example, you can really tell that they are figuring out what they've got to say next in their head, and it just comes out sounding a bit robotic. If that makes any sense, when Logan and CM Punk and John Cena, for example, as when they speak, it doesn't feel like mumbled and robotic. It just feels, it speaks as if they speak as if they it just comes off the dome, you know. So I can tell that Braun is improving, but it's still kind of that promo feeling, robotic feeling, and mumble feeling is still there a little bit. But I think as time progresses and he speaks a lot more on the mic, I feel like he definitely will be a lot better on the mic. I did end up giving this whole segment a low 5 out of 5 because I felt CM Punk's promo was fantastic. Logan didn't speak much, but I'm glad he said a few little things, so I'm glad about that. Paul Heyman said some things as well, but not a lot. And Bron Breakker spoke and was actually pretty decent on the mic. And then we also got a brawl between all four of them, and Logan helped Punk, which was interesting to see. So that whole segment overall, I did give a low 5 out of 5 because I personally thought it was a very, very, very good start to Monday Night Raw, and I really much enjoyed it. The first match that we saw last night was the World Women's Champion Stephanie Vaquer teaming up with the Hall of Famer Nikki Bella versus the Judgment Day's Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. I did end up giving this a high 3 out of 5 because I personally felt it was a very good tag team match between all four of them. Personally, really enjoyed it and felt it was very, very decent. Raquel didn't allow the Devil's Kiss to happen for the first time. Everybody I felt in this tag team match had a good showing. I didn't feel it was one person dominating the one person from the other team. I felt like everybody had a pretty decent showing in this tag team match last night, so I'm very happy about that. We finally did get the Devil's Kiss though, like finally. Stephanie was able to pull off the Devil's Kiss on Roxanne Perez, and the crowd were very happy about it, and so was I ain't gonna lie. Nikki hit the rack attack 2.0, but Raquel was able to make the save. I genuinely thought that, oh my god, they're actually going to give Nikki Bella a win. No, they're not. Never mind. Raquel made the save. And then Roxanne and Raquel were able to pick up the victory, with Roxanne pulling off the pop rocks on Nikki Bella to, again, for the second time in a row, Roxanne has pinned the Hall of Famer Nikki Bella. We did later on in the night get it confirmed that next week on... Actually, no, I'm not going to speak about that yet, because I speak about what's going to happen on next week's Raw before I do speak about the main event. So I'm not going to speak about that yet, actually, but I will speak about the fact that later on in the night, we had a backstage segment with Stephanie and Nikki, as Stephanie was leaving the arena. Nikki apologized to Stephanie for losing the match earlier on in the night, and said that she felt that she can't hang with you guys anymore, and she feels that she let Stephanie down. And Stephanie said, no, it's fine. You haven't let me down. You're one of the greatest to ever do it. It's okay. I feel like we're going to take a little bit of this guy on TikTok called Johnny. I do feel that Nikki is using Stephanie to get to the World Heavyweight Championship. No, to get to the Women's World Championship. Because if you think about it, right, ever since Nikki's come back, she hasn't had the biggest of reception. Obviously, there's been moments in different parts of America and different parts of like Europe that she's had a kind of a reception. Like in Paris, for some reason, they did not like her. Don't know what she's done to Paris, even though she absolutely talks about the fact all the time that she loves the wine from Paris and she absolutely is obsessed with Paris. But for some reason, France just didn't like Nikki Bella in that match against Becky Lynch, so she was demolished in that match crowd-wise. Birmingham, she got a mixture of reception, but I say more good than bad. And then some places in America, a little bit of a mixed reception depending on who she's going against. So she hasn't had the best reception ever since coming back for this last time run, I'm presuming. So I do think that she's going to use that against us very soon by saying that you were never behind me and yada yada yada, and you were more excited for AJ to come back than you were me, kind of thing. Kind of being a little bit jealous of the reception that AJ Lee got, but than she did. So I do think she's using Stephanie to get to the Women's Championship. I don't think she's going to win the Women's Championship, but I think this is a way to have one more go at a Women's Championship, and then she'll probably go on to have a rivalry with AJ Lee down the line, because I can definitely see them doing AJ Lee versus Nikki Bella one more time. So I think that's going to happen at some point next year. But yeah, I definitely think Nikki's turning heel, and it could be as soon as next week, but we'll get onto that when we speak about the match that's going to be happening next week. But yeah, like I said, I did give this match a high 3 out of 5 because I felt everybody had a good showing in this match, and personally I really enjoyed it. And now we're on to the segment that I was kind of speaking about earlier on during the CM Punk segment, which was the segment Dominic Mysterio had. I did end up giving this segment, before we even speak about it, a low 4 out of 5 because I felt it was a very, very good segment. Even though I knew Rey Mysterio was returning, I still gave this segment a low 4 out of 5. Dominic said that he is the king of the luchadors, said he's the greatest luchador of all time, and that's when Rey Mysterio interrupted, said every time he said he's the greatest luchador, it's disrespectful to all the luchadors. He said El Santos, Blue Lacon, I can't remember the other person he said, and then Eddie Guerrero, and that got the biggest pop, and everybody was chanting for Eddie Guerrero. Yeah, I can't remember the second name he said, but he said El Santos and someone else. Blue, did he say Blue something? And then Eddie Guerrero, but I can't remember the middle guy's name. And then Dom said, "Don't ever mention my his dad, Eddie." It's just very funny. That was probably my favourite bit of the whole segment, I can't lie. And then Dom said, "He's better than Ray." And I've said this a few times, but I agree with Dominic Mysterio, and I'm actually being genuinely serious. I'm not just saying that because that's Dominic's stick to say that he's better than Rey Mysterio. I actually genuinely do feel like being like dead ass serious that Dominic is better than Rey Mysterio. I just personally do. But yeah, said that Dom said that Ray, is jealous, and Dom tell Ray to get the hell out of his ring, and Ray said that as long as he's here, this is not his ring. As long as he's here, he's not the king of the luchadors, and as long as he's here, he is not the best Mysterio. And then Dominic was about to leave the ring, but decided to try and go for a cheap shot from Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio caught him. They started brawling, and Rey Mysterio was able to Rey Mysterio was able to pull off. Sorry, not pick the 619, and was about to do the frog splash, but Dominic managed to escape. And I can definitely see them doing, like I said earlier on in the night, instead of John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio at Survivor Series for the Intercontinental Championship, they're going to be doing the WrestleMania 39 rematch of Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. I don't know how to feel about it, because their match at WrestleMania 39 was really enjoyable to watch, and I'm down for a WrestleMania rematch at Survivor Series in San Diego, which is Rey Mysterio's hometown. Like, I am really down for it. As much as I'm not a massive John Cena, a massive Rey Mysterio fan, I am down for another match between Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, but this time for a championship, for the Intercontinental Championship in San Diego. Again, Rey Mysterio's hometown. Like, I am down for it, but a part of me would rather John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, because now that we're going down the line of doing Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, I don't think we're ever getting Dominic Mysterio versus John Cena. Because I feel if we were to get John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio on one of these episodes of Raws that are happening, then Dominic's losing the Intercontinental Championship, which then means we're not getting the match at Survivor Series in San Diego with Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. So it just doesn't work. Like, if they did that whole segment last night with Dominic and Ray, and the fact that Survivor Series is in San Diego, I can't not see them doing Ray versus Dominic, which means that we're now never going to get Dominic versus John Cena, ever, because I don't see where it works unless, for some reason and somehow, Dominic Mysterio. Well, I do think he's going to retain his Intercontinental Championship at San Diego, but Dominic Mysterio retains his Intercontinental Championship. He is in this last Time Is Now tournament. He makes it to the semi-finals of the last Time Is Now tournament, which will commence after Survivor Series. I'm pretty sure it will anyway. And then wins the final match, and then goes on to face John Cena in December in John Cena's last ever match for the Intercontinental Championship, and then John Cena retires with the Intercontinental Championship. Is a very big possibility that they go down that route, but they might go down the route of Rey Mysterio versus John Cena for the Intercontinental Championship, because Rey Mysterio and John Cena have history, so they might go down that route instead. But apparently they're going to be doing Gunther versus John Cena, but Gunther's name hasn't even been drawn yet, and the names are already in the thing to be drawn. So I honestly don't know, but if Gunther's not in the tournament, then I can definitely see Dominic winning this whole tournament and going on to face John Cena for the Intercontinental Championship, and then John Cena wins the Intercontinental Championship in his last ever match, making him a Grand Slam champion. But if Gunther's in this tournament, then most likely 99.9% Gunther's winning this whole thing, and he will go on to face John Cena in his last match, which means that we're not getting Dominic Mysterio versus John Cena, and John Cena will not be a Grand Slam champion. So I have no idea how they're managing to give John Cena the Intercontinental Championship so that he can be a Grand Slam champion. I just don't think that's happening now. I don't know. I think it all depends on if Gunther's in the last Time Is Now tournament, and if Dominic's in it now, I think. So I don't know, but I think they're definitely doing Ray versus Dominic at Survivor Series at the Intercontinental Championship in San Diego, and then I guess we'll have to wait and see if Gunther and Dominic Mysterio, or just Dominic or just Gunther, is in this last Time Is Now tournament, and I think, yeah, like I said, if Dominic's in the tournament but Gunther's not, I think Dominic will win the whole thing. If Gunther's in the tournament and Dominic's not, I think Gunther will win it. And even if Gunther and Dominic are in it, I still don't think Dominic's winning. I think Gunther's winning. So, which means we're never getting John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, which means John Cena will not be a Grand Slam champion. But I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I did give this segment with Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio last night a low 4 out of 5. We then had an incredible, good. I'm going to change it now. I am going to give this segment last night with Becky Lynch the same as the Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio segment, which is a low 4 out of 5. I did originally give it a high 3 out of 5, but I'm going to change it to a low 4 out of 5 because Becky's just so fucking incredible on the mic, and even though she spoke for way less than Dominic and Ray did, and had way less time than Dominic and Ray did, she delivered a promo that was on par with that whole segment last night. So I can't not give it lower than Dominic and Ray's segment because Becky's just so incredible on the mic. Like it's crazy how incredible she is on the mic. But she said that she's been through a lot because obviously what's going on with Seth Rollins with his injury, what went on with the Vision, and all these crooked refs that she keeps encountering. Well, the crooked ref, Jessica, that she keeps encountering for her matches, said that the only good thing about Mexico is a show about how much meth they do, which was fucking hilarious. Like, Becky just says it how it is, and I'm so glad they allow some wrestlers to really play on like personal stuff that goes on in certain towns because it brings heat, and I'm glad that they allow that because of obviously how the world is at the moment. Like, you can't say anything because everyone gets offended by every little tiny little thing nowadays, but I'm glad that they allow heel wrestlers to play on to stuff like that can possibly be a little tiny bit offensive to some people probably. So I love that Becky said that because it was hilarious. And yeah, said that her whole quote, said her whole, I said her whole, what the hell? I didn't write that down very Englishly, did I? Englishly? I didn't write that down very good. That's what I meant to say. I don't know what that was. Said her whole quote again that she's the greatest female wrestler of all time, and it ain't just her saying it. Sports Illustrated say it. Yada 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 yada. Whoever else says this, that whole stick that she says every single promo. That's the only thing negative about her promos is that constantly being brought up in every single promo that she does. And then she spoke about Maxine Dupree and said the next time that they're in the ring together, it will be her last time that they're ever in the ring together. I can definitely see that on next week's Raw, Adam Pearce makes it official that in a no disqualification match in Madison Square Garden, it will be Maxine Dupree versus Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship, and Becky will destroy the living shit out of Maxine, and then after the match is finished, she will beat Maxine up even more, and that's when we get the return of AJ Lee, because she's done with her book tour on November 16th, so the day before Raw, and she's in New York for that book signing. So I definitely think that we will get made official next week, Maxine Dupree versus Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship in Madison Square Garden in a no disqualification or street fight or some sort of stipulation anyway. And that's when we get the return of AJ Lee, because her book tour will be finished. So that's what I see happening on next week's Raw between Maxie, not next week, that's what I see happening in a couple of weeks' time between Maxie and Becky to then bring in the return of AJ Lee. But yeah, like I said, I did change it to a low 4 out of 5 because that segment last night was really, really enjoyable. Yeah. We're now on to the tag team match between the Judgment Day and AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, aka AJ Lee. I did give it a high 3 out of 5. I don't think it was good or great. Definitely wasn't as good as their match the first time around, but they didn't have a lot of time this time because so much was crammed into this week's Raw that they didn't really have a lot of time to have as good of a match as they did last time. But yeah, it was obviously a tag team championship rematch. Finn and JD attacked AJ and Dragon like very quickly into the match. It was a very fast paced match from the get go. Dom came out to watch out for JD and Finn. Dom caused Dom what the fuck? Dom caused a distraction, but it kind of backfired because he was distracting them for the ref for too long. Finn made the save after the phenomenal forearm. Sheamus then attacked Dominic Mysterio. Finn used the shillelagh, but Dragon Lee was able to make the save. I was like, oh fuck. As soon as Finn hit AJ Styles with the shillelagh, I was like, yeah, the Judgment Day are going to be tag champions again, and then it's not going to be shown on TV again, and we're going back to square one. What's the fucking point in AJ and Dragon Lee being champions in the first place? But thank God, Dragon Lee made the save, and Sheamus and Dominic started brawling again, and I keep saying Dominic. It's like every time I read the letter D, I just automatically just go Dominic. No, Dragon Lee is so underrated, like so fucking underrated, and so is JD McDonough. And then Team AJ Lee were able to retain their WWE Tag Team Championships, and the championships are not around the race of the Judgment Day. Thank God. But yeah, I can definitely see them possibly doing Finn Balor versus Sheamus next week on Raw because of what happened on last night's Raw, or they potentially might do Dominic Mysterio versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. There's a possibility as well, but I can see them more doing Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio because Dominic will demand that Alan Pearce puts Finn Balor in a match against Sheamus because of what happened last night, and then Dominic has to tell Finn that he's in a match with Sheamus, so I can definitely see that all planning out next week exactly like that. But yeah, no, a very decent match, but like I said, not a good or a great match between the four of them. But yeah, I'm just grateful and glad that Dragon Lee and AJ Styles retained the World Tag Team Championships. Okay, now we're on to what's going to happen on next week's Raw. We had 2 matches for the John Cena Last Time Is Now tournament announced, and round 1 does start next week. And match number 1 is Rusev versus Damian Priest. And oh my god, this is going to be a fantastic match if booked correctly, because these two are such hard hitting and brutal in the ring and very intense type of wrestlers. So I am so fucking down and so excited for a match between Rusev and Damian Priest, because I think it's a match that we've never ever seen. Like, I don't think it's ever happened. Like, even on other wrestling companies, I don't think this match has ever happened. So I am very fucking excited to see Rusev versus Damian Priest. And then the second match announced was actually quite a surprising match and wasn't expecting it. But a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, I've seen a couple of people not happy about it, but I don't know why. Because we're getting a match between Shinsuke Nakamura and Sheamus, which is, I'm actually really, really intrigued. And I feel like we have seen it before. I can't remember if we have or not, but even if we have, I am down for a Shinsuke Nakamura, his type of wrestling style versus Sheamus's type of wrestling style. I'm down for it. I'm actually really excited for it. So I think the first 2 matches are perfect. I'm going to make a prediction on both of them now. I do think that Rusev is winning against Damian Priest, and I do think Sheamus is winning against Rusev, and I'm presuming round 2 will be Sheamus versus Rusev, I'm assuming, which is what I think they were aiming for. So I do think that round 2 or quarterfinals, or quarterfinals, round of 16, I don't know. No, it's not round of 16 now, so the round of 8, will be, so the quarterfinals will be Rusev versus Sheamus. And I'd be so fucking down for another match between Rusev versus Sheamus for sure. And then we're also, on next week's Raw, getting the Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair for the Women's Tag Team Championships. We're getting another championship match so quickly. And then we're also getting another championship match between Raquel Rodriguez and Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World Championship, where I do see Nikki Bella turning heel. I do see Nikki Bella turning on Stephanie after Stephanie beats Raquel Rodriguez. For sure, 100%. See Nikki Bella turning heel next week. Definitely. I don't think they're going to drag this on. I think it's going to be quite a quick heel turn, and I think it's going to be next week. But yeah, no, 4 absolute bangers right there that I am very much looking forward to. Very much looking forward to. And then the 5th, oh no, I was going to say, oh yeah, I just remembered. I said that Finn Balor will probably go on to face Sheamus next week, but he won't because Shinsuke's facing Sheamus. So actually, Sheamus might actually lose next week. Oh no, I hope not. Shit. Oh yeah, fuck. I hope not. But I don't know what the 5th match will be because we normally have 5/6 matches on Raw. So I don't know what the 5th match is gonna be. I don't know. But I am so fucking excited for next week's Raw. Like, I mean, and also John Cena's on Raw next week as well. I'm so down, like so fucking down for next week's Raw. I'm so excited for it, and I cannot wait for it to be next week now to watch Raw. All right, we are now on to the main event that did end up going overtime, and that is the main event between Jey Uso and CM Punk versus Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. I did end up giving this a moderate 3 out of 5 overall. Like I said, this match started with 1 minute before the show was actually meant to end because it's meant to end for me at 3:30. Yeah, 3:30, but end up going on to 4. So it went 15 minutes overtime. Like I said, we don't get this very often, so I'm grateful. Even though the ending wasn't the greatest, I'm grateful that we got an extra 15 minutes of wrestling, so I can't complain too much. I felt that everyone had a good showing in this tag team match. I feel like every tag team match last night, everyone had a very good showing in all of them, so which is very rare in tag team matches nowadays. But yeah, no, everyone had a good showing, I felt like. But I did feel that Punk took the brunt of this match. I felt like he was destroyed for the majority of this tag team match. But like I said, everyone still had a very good showing. But unfortunately, it did end in a double disqualification. But I think it needed to because of what happened at the end of Raw, and they couldn't go too much over time. So I'm not that gutted about it ending in a double disqualification because, like I said, we've seen this match multiple times. This tag team match multiple times. So I've had it ended a bit differently in a double disqualification instead of just a disqualification or some other people getting involved, yada yada, during the match. I'm glad that it just ended a little bit different than normal, which was a double disqualification. So I wasn't too mad about it, to be honest with you. But it's the ending of what happened at the end then, which we'll get onto in a second. But a brawl happened. We got the running spear by Bron Breakker to Jey Uso. Punk was taken out by Bronson Reed through the barricades. Jey was then tsunami'd. Punk came back with a chair, but Bronson and Bron Breakker went out to the ring, grabbed a couple of chairs. Logan Paul come running down the ring, stood by the side of CM Punk with brass knuckles on his hand, and then knocked out CM Punk. That's the only thing I didn't like about this. I don't mind that it was a double disqualification, and I don't mind a brawl commenced between all 4 of the people that were in the main event. It's the ending where Logan knocked out Punk that I was like, why? Like, Logan should have just like returned at the end and done that. Like, I don't know why he interrupted during the beginning segment. I felt like they should have just completely left that because trying to fool us that Logan had joined the baby faces was not working at all for anybody. Like, no, I think 99.9% of WWE fans that watch every single week knew that Logan Paul was just doing that to then do what he done and later on in the night, so it was obvious. So like, I don't know why they just didn't have Logan run down to the ring and then act as if he was on Punk's side and then knock out Punk. Like, I don't know why they just didn't do that at the end instead. Like, because everyone would have been like, if Logan didn't return earlier on in the night and Logan ran down, his music didn't even hit. He just ran down to stand next to CM Punk. Everyone's going to be like, for a few seconds, being like, huh? Logan Paul's come down? He's come back after not being on the show for quite a while now, and he's come back and he's standing by the side of CM Punk. Huh? Okay, that's a bit weird. But then a lot of people, I think, in the audience would have known that Logan was going to punch Punk, but it would have been a little bit more intriguing if Logan hadn't returned in the night and done what he done earlier on in the night. I feel like he should have just, like I said, ran down at the end of the night and returned, I guess, at the end of the night with no music, just ran down and then stood by Punk's side for like a good like 30 seconds, and the audience would have been like, huh? And then knocked out Punk, I think it would have been a little bit better. But the fact that he ran down and stood by Punk's side with brass knuckles in his hand and knocked out Punk, I was like, that's fucking obvious. Like, did they really have us thought they had us fooled that Logan was a babyface now? No. That's the only negative I have about this whole main event. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. And then it ended with Logan Paul giving the brass knuckles to Paul Heyman. I don't think he's joined the Vision, like actual joined Team Vision. Like, I mean, like as in like joined their group, not Team Vision. I think he's joined Team Vision for War Games. That's what I think happened last night. I don't think he's actually like the new leader of the Vision or has joined the Vision. Is in like joined the group Vision. I think he's just made his point clear that he is a part of Team Vision for War Games. So I do think, like, I'm gonna guess of War Games teams now, because I need to do my early Survivor Series predictions like soon, because it is 3 weeks Saturday, so I need to do that soon. To be honest with you, I might do that at some point this week, an early Survivor Series prediction video. But I'm going to say my War Games match in this one, not the others, but I'm going to say the men's one in this one. I think it's going to be Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Solo Sikoa, and Tama Tonga versus CM Punk, Jey Uso, John Cena, Roman Reigns, and then the last one is either going to be, I'm going to have to make my official like prediction soon, because obviously I have to do for the video, but it's either going to be Sami Zayn, Jimmy Uso, or one of the members of the Wyatts. But I'm not too sure on the fifth one yet. I'll have to have a little think on who I feel makes more sense. Probably Jimmy Uso. In this video, I'll say Jimmy Uso, but for the sake of the storyline with the MFTs and Solo, I feel like one of the Wyatts makes sense, but then also Sammy makes sense. So I don't know. I feel like that's the 5 members for the. Oh, I don't know why I'm holding it like this. What the hell? I don't know why. Don't know why. Because I was speaking like that. I feel like the 5 members for the Vision makes sense, but the other team, I'm not too sure on the last opponent, but I could be completely wrong. But that's my guesses anyway. But yeah, guys, I'm going to end this Raw review here. It's been a pretty lengthy one, which means that last night's Raw was a very enjoyable Raw to watch. And sorry about that, guys. And it was. I actually really enjoyed it. Like I said, I did give this Raw a 5 out of 5. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys rate this week's Raw. I potentially will be doing a early Survivor Series prediction video, but I might actually wait. Actually, no, I'll probably do it next week, because I might wait to see what happens on Friday Night SmackDown and then go from there with predicting the Survivor Series card. So I'm going to wait until after Friday Night SmackDown, so that will be out at some point next week, my early Survivor Series prediction video. But anyways, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and it's been Charlie, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.